creating cultural awareness and understanding. This is Culture Clique. Culture Clique is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University.
Today on Culture Clique, we learn about pop-up shops and streetwear from Max Hayden and Parker Peterson, creators of local streetwear line Mauxvelli. They recently had a pop-up shop in Treedome in downtown Winona. Through our conversation, I found that pop-up shops and even fashion itself aren't always about money. In fact, for these two young entrepreneurs, it's all about building community. I'm Bill Stoneberg with Max Hayden and Parker Peterson, creators of Mauxvelli Streetwear on Culture Clique. I'm here with Max Hayden and Parker Peterson. They're the creators of Mauxvelli. It's a streetwear line, and there's a pop-up shop going on down at Treedome today with Mauxvelli Streetwear. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good. It's a beautiful day for it, and we're excited for the event. We're excited to be out here, and we're really grateful that Treedome's letting us kind of take over their space, do a little music, have a little sale going on, and try some different things in Winona here.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to have a lot of fun today. We got music. We got this beautiful venue for us, so I'm excited.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a great venue for this, and it's a great day, so hopefully you got a lot of traffic down here. And students are back, so that's a plus as well. So first of all, I kind of want to get into, how did you guys get into fashion and streetwear? And maybe you can explain to me what's, because some of our listeners might not know, what's the difference, what exactly is streetwear in the fashion world or compared to fashion?
Definitely. I would say streetwear, it kind of stems off of a culmination of sportswear and your traditional designer wear. So you have your upper echelon brands making, leather handbags, maybe a couple $1,000 garments there, and you're kind of mixing it with that kind of 90s era style sportswear with it. So in that, just going through high school sports into college, it's kind of what influenced me because I was on the sportswear side of it, and it's just it's something different. It's something that not everybody's wearing, and that's what kind of intrigued me is the uniqueness of it.
Okay, that's a good explanation. Anything to add there, Parker?
Well, with streetwear, it's more of it's an exclusivity type of thing. It's obviously these big designer brands, it's they have these big, these drops where only the ultra rich and only these rich people can get them. And with streetwear, we're trying to keep that exclusivity, but we're trying to do it at a smaller scale, and we're trying to just get it local and trying to build a community around it and being able to have supporters that we know and that we talk to and that we reach out to them and they reach out to us, and it's just it's a community building type of thing.
Okay, that's interesting that you say that because I was going to touch on that a little bit. What do you think the main benefit is for the community? How does it really connect?
So nowadays everything is online, everything. So people don't get the connection to that brand or to that store like they would with a brick and mortar shop or with a local brand. So things that we try to do, we try to just keep it local. We try to support local artists, support local venues, just do what we can to build our community because that's the foundation of our brand.
Okay. Do you think doing a pop-up shop like this, do you think that helps to build that sense of community?
Oh yeah, of course. We started out doing this in our living room and we'd invite people in and be hey, here's our address, come through, buy some stuff, let's have a good time. And so now we're just expanding a little bit more, and now we're actually getting venues and getting, the ability to book artists and all that type of stuff. So it's just really, really exciting.
When you do a pop-up shop, do you sometimes do it in conjunction with a band or something like that going on at the same time or right after each other or?
So this will actually be our first event incorporating music, and it's something I've wanted to do, but, being in our house, it's sometimes not possible, especially, renting or what have you. And last month we had a pop-up shop in Rochester over at the Castle community, and that was a lot of fun, but we just didn't end up getting to incorporate a band into it. But something that I think kind of goes hand in hand. You have local art through clothing, and you also have local art through music, and it's kind of that conjunction that I would love to incorporate more into our events just to make it kind of double-sided to a sense.
Okay. How did you guys get initially started in like expressing yourself through clothing and design?
So I actually used to do hip-hop music myself, and it was just one of those things. I worked with a clothing brand out in Madison, Wisconsin that was originally based out of Rochester, and I worked with him in marketing, helped him with some design, and it just ended up with the distance and a few other things that, I kind of wanted to branch out and start my own thing and just kind of focus more on, having really good quality garments, but not sacrificing price for quality per se. So we try to keep it as high quality as possible, and it's still, your $20 t-shirt, $40 for a hoodie, just, kind of baseline.
Right. So affordable yet unique and cool, right?
Yeah, definitely. And we try to mix it up with, different materials, especially in like while we're printing. I like to work with, kind of bleach splattering. Sometimes I'll like paint splatter a jacket, and just working with, like, we have some prints that are felted, like they feel like pool table felt. So it's not your traditional like screen printed t-shirt.
Okay, nice. Some unique stuff. Parker, how did you get into creating clothing and design?
Well, like I lived with Max, and
With this?
and it was just like I saw him like doing his music stuff, and then he stopped doing that, and it's just like he needed a creative outlet, and I was just kind of there to be like a tastemaker more than anything. It's just like, oh yeah, what do you think about this? Like, what should I do with this? And it's just like I'm there to kind of like lead it a little bit, like, but he has the creative direction, and I'm just like kind of like a curator, I guess.
Okay. So you guys have mentioned like, paint splatter, stuff like that. Do you guys do all the work yourselves? Like, how does it really go down? Is it found stuff and then you alter it or put your own spin on it? How does that work?
So it's not going to be necessarily like your traditional, like, we're cutting and sewing fabric into t-shirts. We do buy like bulk t-shirts from a website, and then all of the printing is done in-house. The only a few things, like I hand splatter everything when we do like bleach or paint or anything like that. So everything is kind of in tune with production. The only thing I've really outsourced is we have stickers that I just ordered online because I don't have a decent printer for it. Our skateboards that we just got in, those were ordered, and I try to keep it as local as possible when I outsource. So there's a t-shirt shop down the block that I went to for some embroidery for some of our t-shirts as well recently.
Okay, I like that. Keeping it local, that builds that community aspect of it even more. So, Parker, you were talking about before about how this helps build community and stuff like that, doing pop-up shops. What do you think is really important about, fashion and design itself? It's an expression for you guys, of course, an artistic expression. How do you feel that, people who wear your stuff, how does that affect them, you think?
Well, it shows that they're, I think, a little bit more open-minded in the fact that they just don't need to wear like the best brand out there. Like they can like see something that we make and be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I'll wear that. Like, and it's anybody can just like buy the stuff for it and just make whatever they want. But like you can kind of tell if it has like meaning behind it and if it has like a message behind it. And with some of the stuff that we've seen around here, it's just like, yeah, like that stuff's cool, but like, you guys don't. We need to have like passion. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And have that ability to build the community.
Right. So I'm hearing a lot about sense of community. It's definitely an artistic expression for you guys. So like if someone out there is kind of making their own stuff too and they get inspired by you, do you see that as like competition? Or I'm getting the feeling that maybe that's a good thing, that you're spreading people, expressing themselves and being unique in their own choices in their clothing and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen a few more brands pop up around the area just recently, and I can't say necessarily if we've influenced them or not, but it is cool to see just kind of, other people trying to do their own thing. I don't really see it as competition at all, really, because like a lot of our pieces, we're kind of going in one direction and other people are going in a different direction. It's kind of the same, I guess, genre of clothing, but it's definitely taking a different spin on it, and I'm fine with that. I'm also fine with, it's the same as like promoting local music, kind of bring everybody up. If one band is, doing well and another band is kind of up and coming, that's not competition for you. Play the same set, kind of bring up the community together,
Nice. I like that you said that, because that's what I was thinking. Is it seems like, the more people that get into doing stuff like this, the better it is for all of us, right?
Yeah, definitely, and especially because we're a buy-sell trade kind of format with our shop. Other people doing this, it definitely creates kind of a circulation, I guess, because people will come in with their old clothes or some clothes that they've never worn and just want to part with, and we can offer them a good deal on a trade, get them some new garments for especially the upcoming school year, and just kind of do a little swap that way rather than being entirely like sales focused.
Right. I like that. I like that attitude a lot. I'm talking to Max Hayden and Parker Peterson. They're creators of Mauxvelli. It's a streetwear line, and they're having a pop-up show here at Treedome, downtown Winona, and right here on 89.5 KQAL. And then, Max, we were talking a little bit before we started here. Max, you had mentioned you're a marketing major. How do you think does that play into the way you get your designs out there and the way you, maybe promote the pop-up shows and things like that? How does that work? Does it inform each other?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, especially at WSU, their College of Business is incredible. And like a lot of their, they've kind of strayed away from doing standardized testing and they're being more community-based, and kind of like we work on projects for, different businesses in downtown Winona and kind of promoting that. So I think that's played into that, because you get that real world experience from that, but from a different perspective. And it definitely helps play into, what we do here, what we change up from event to event, what we can add, everything. And, from here, I try to be a student for classes. From classes, I try to be a student for doing these pop-up shops. So it definitely plays kind of hand in hand.
Awesome. I like that. So do you think that, a lot of smaller towns or towns about this size of Winona, try to revitalize their downtown and things like that with brick and mortar stores? Do you think that, pop-up shops in venues like this and venues like Treedome, do you think that it's even a more of a benefit for the community than just a brick and mortar store? Or, where do you see the benefit coming from there?
Well, with this at least, we're not stationed in one spot. Right. We have the ability to move around. We can go to locations. We can go to different cities, and we can just see all of these different people and event places. And being able to do that is a lot better than just having to sit in one spot and have to wait for the people to come to you.
That's good. That's really good for the customers. And I suppose like a venue such as Treedome, you get different. Well, like you said, you move around, so you're going to get a different crowd than, say, your living room, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say from event to event, we definitely have a return clientele, but we also have a lot of people that will come in for the first time. Our pop-up that we did back in May, we set out in our front yard rather than in the living room because it was nice out. And our neighbors came over and they're like, hey, what's going on here? And they, wouldn't have known about it otherwise. So it definitely... I like bringing in kind of, being in different places for events just because it provides a different atmosphere, kind of a different feel to the event. And we kind of try to play that to our advantage and promote the business as well. Right. A lot of these kids haven't been in a place like this or, haven't been in a certain business, and bringing them in for an event like this, it might be like, hey, I should come back for a show, or hey, I should come back and shop for some records.
Nice. So even doing a pop-up shop for Mauxvelli promotes other artists and things going on in the area as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So do you guys, does Mauxvelli sell products online as well, or just in pop-up shops?
Yeah, we do have an online site. We try to keep it updated as much as possible, but with just everything being kind of in-house production, it's a lot of times kind of limited quality. Sometimes, like for events, we will print and curate things that will only be available for that event and won't be available online. So it's kind of that playing on that, like, hey, get here, like, get the experience instead of, strictly shopping online. And I know, kind of growing up and, even going to the mall or different kind of clothing, doing clothing shopping, it's a lot better of an experience to kind of be there and, talk to someone who's trying to, put you in something that you like and someone who's trying to, like, connect with you. And I feel like, especially with these pop-up events, we can kind of just be on a personal level with most of our customers, which is great.
Nice. Another way to build community, of course. And I like it's almost like a comparison. You could compare live music. This is almost like a live show as opposed to listening to the album at home, or shopping online for something that, everyone else can buy at the same time, So that's pretty neat. And do you get feedback from people that, do they kind of say the same thing, that this feels like an experience instead of just shopping,
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of the times, especially in, kind of a tighter knit venue like this, we encourage people to kind of, whether or not there's music, just kind of hang out and, socialize, make it more of a social event than like, oh, I'm going to go shopping. Like, right. You're going to our event. You're not necessarily like going out to buy a couple things from, say, a clothing store or, a general store or something like that.
You can more so connect with your audience, it sounds like.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked a little bit about how pop-up shops can, build community, things like that, bring artists together, bring the audience in. How do you feel that, like, streetwear and fashion design itself, how do you feel that matters to people? Like, what does it mean to you guys? And what do you think, people get out of that?
I mean, it's definitely kind of a flooded market where you have, you have the genre of streetwear clothing, but then you have so many like subdivisions of that, and it kind of varies by like what region you're in the United States and elsewhere. You kind of get a different feel in clothing. So I feel like when people come to our pop-up shops, one person might want a certain brand because nobody else is wearing that around here, and it's just kind of an expression of self. It kind of varies from person to person, and I really feel like because a lot of these labels that we carry outside of our own brand are maybe based in New York, maybe based in London, maybe based elsewhere, a lot of the times, especially in the Midwest here, north of Chicago, a lot of the times you don't have a lot of access to those labels. So that definitely adds to the appeal of it, just because someone might come in and they're just like, wow, I've never held a shirt like this before, or I've never held like a piece of clothing like this before. Okay.
So it kind of, I think that uniqueness kind of adds to the, maybe adds color to our community, correct?
Yeah, definitely. And there's a mall in La Crosse and there's a mall in Rochester, and a lot of the student body will go and shop there, and I think that's great, but if you come here, you're not going to find anything that's in those malls. Those malls aren't going to have any of these garments. So I think it kind of adds to that experience.
Right. Well, and, so say you go out somewhere and you're wearing Mauxvelli. If you run into someone else who's wearing Mauxvelli, it's not like, oh, no, they got the same thing I on. It's almost like they can connect that way too, right?
Yeah, definitely. And with a lot of our designs, we try to, we have our base T-shirts that, we'll maybe print 4 of a design, do a full, partial or full size run. And then we also focus heavily on doing like 1 of 1 garments or 1 of 2 garments. So keeping it so maybe you have the same black T-shirt on with the same design on it, but it's a different colorway in the design. Right. So kind of keeping it the same, so it's a connection there, but also, different at the very same time.
Okay, great. Well, it's a really cool thing. I encourage anyone to look these guys up. And you guys have a Facebook page, right, Mauxvelli?
Yep, and you can find us on Instagram at Mauxvelli as well.
Okay. Where would people go? Would you say Instagram would be the best place to go to find out about where you're at, what you're doing?
Yeah, with a lot of our events, I always make Facebook events for our events, but most of our posting and content is through Instagram. We try to do, kind of different, promotional videos, have some fun with it, play around with some different things and kind of shine some light on the Winona community while doing it.
Okay, sounds good. Well, like I said, I encourage anyone to look these guys up online. Their stuff is really cool. I'm talking to Max Hayden and Parker Peterson. They're the creators of Mauxvelli Streetwear, and they're doing a pop-up shop down here at Treedome and downtown Winona. So thanks so much for being with us today, guys.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks again to Mauxvelli creators Max Hayden and Parker Peterson for joining us today on Culture Clique. To find out more about Mauxvelli, or when and where their next pop-up shop might be, just search Mauxvelli on Facebook. That's Mauxvelli, spelled Mauxvelli. To keep up on all things Winona and the surrounding area, tune into Culture Clique Thursdays at 12:30 right here on 89.5 KQAL. I'm Bill Stoneberg, and we've just heard from Max Hayden and Parker Peterson, creators of Mauxvelli Streetwear, on Culture Clique.
Creating cultural awareness and understanding. You've been listening to Culture Clique. Support for Culture Clique is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Culture Clique is produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University. For more information, look us up on the web at kqal.org. And thanks for listening to Culture Clique.
Are you interested in all things Winona and the surrounding area? Find podcasts of Culture Clique and all your favorite KQAL shows by going to kqal.org and looking for program archives under the Media tab. Culture Clique is made possible by a grant from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.